Theseus Reassembled. Welcome back, Bryce, Randy, Jenkins. Randy, you know what to do. Hit us with the news of the week.
Yeah, news of the week. Obviously, the big box office hit this past weekend. How to Train Your Dragon. Our resident How to Train Your Dragon expert, Jenkins, who has seen this movie two times already before it even released. So, Jenkins, now that it has dropped for the general audience, you want to give us your full spoiler-filled thoughts on it?
Spoiler filled. Uh, Fortunately, there's not really much to spoil if you see the animated movie because it's just basically shot for shot. Um, no, I think it's funny because when I talked about the movie, like right when I saw it in March at CinemaCon, one of the things I said is that it potentially is better than the animated, and I got so much heat for that. Everybody's saying there's like people who obviously haven't seen it yet are saying you're wrong. They don't, but they don't even know. Like, how is that even possible? But now that it's out, the last 2 days, I guess, as you know, we're recording this, I've heard that thrown around very often by many people, and I just want to remind people that I was first of all, and then secondly that I still agree because I think the animated movie, has this moments and can do things that like live action can't because dragons not being real and such. Um, but the live action does it has something that the animated doesn't, and that's being able to relate to the characters because I guess they look more like you because they're real, and so their emotion and all the big moments just hit harder because it's actual people and it feels like you could be in that world because the people are real. Um, what else? Let's see. Astrid. I think Astrid is better in the live action easily than the animated. I don't even think it's close. The big scene, obviously, is the first flight scene when he gets on Hiccup and can like control him for the first time. And that scene is just as amazing, maybe even more so when he's doing it live action with Mason Thames. The one thing that I wish that they did do, which they didn't do for some reason, is that in the animated, up until that scene, Hiccup has the theme song and Toothless has a theme song, and then as soon as he's reading the paper on like how to ride him and stuff, and as soon as he throws it and just locks in that moment, those two theme songs combine in the animated movie, kind of showing that like this sync has finally happened and they're like one with each other. And they didn't do that in the live action. I noticed right away, and I wish they would have. But I mean, it doesn't really make that scene any worse, unless you're like a movie nerd like I am. But yeah, no, the movie's phenomenal. It looks incredible. I was nervous about how the dragons were going to look, but I mean, it's seamless. That's what I would assume a dragon looks like if they were real, and like the fire and explosions. I was actually talking to the person I went to see it the second time with, and he was like, "That's like the most realistic like explosions that I've ever like in fire that I've seen in like something like that." So if you haven't seen it yet, highly recommend. It's up there. I think I gave it 4 stars on a letterbox. So yeah, it's up there. It's one of my favorites of the year so far.
High praise.
That's awesome. I'm really excited for it. I think I'm gonna be seeing it this coming week. So
Yeah, and obviously it's off to a big start. It's exceeding expectations even at the early box office. So obviously, a How to Train Your Dragon 2 live action adaptation has
Yeah,
already been confirmed. Even has a release date set, which you know how these way out release dates work, but for June 11th, 2027.
27.
And
yeah.
Jenkins, you mentioned it. You've mentioned it, you know, literally since the first time you saw it, that it is a true adaptation of the original of the animated, and
Hmm.
maybe even better. And we've seen, we've talked about it on last week's pod, how Disney has done some live actions and it has not been so direct to the original. Do you think maybe Disney learns a little bit of a lesson from how much love DreamWorks is getting for this adaptation here?
I don't know, because I mean, the last movie being Snow White, which severely underperformed for Disney, live action wise. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
Disney might take a break from it, to be honest with you,
Well,
and
that's
like
a good
wait a little
segue
bit. Yeah.
to our next news because they did just drop Lilo and Stitch, which
Hmm.
killed the box office, right? So Snow White had them they paused the Tangled live action, which was the next kind of after Lilo and Stitch, the next one they kind of wanted to move on to start working on. And because of the success of Lilo and Stitch, it looks like the wheels are going to start turning again on a Tangled live action, which is a little bit of news. And that kind of led me to my next point, talking about a little bit of Disney live action. And that being that some of the news from Lilo and Stitch killing the box office for a couple weeks has kind of, like I said, breathed life.
Got their spirits back up, huh?
They feel confident again. They're feeling themselves again. And it looks like they may want to try throwing Tangled live action, at least start kind of pressing forwards with that. And I think the first thing that they would do would be to kind of gauge audience hype by floating some names out as who could play Rapunzel and Flynn Rider. Of course, those are the two people you want to cast. So do y'all have any? I mean, I've anybody who's talked to me, I love Tangled, the animated. That would be the one I want to see made into live action. And I have a Rapunzel in mind, but they're going to need to do it quick for my Rapunzel to hit. So do y'all want to hear my Rapunzel first, or y'all want to give me
throw
one?
it out there.
You go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I would love to see Florence Pugh play Rapunzel, but we are getting too close, I think, to her aging out of the role, because Rapunzel's supposed to be like 17, 18.
Right.
Yeah,
So
she's getting up there.
Yeah. So we're not calling you old, Florence. I know you're listening.
No. That's not what I meant. I meant, yeah.
Too old to play Rapunzel.
She's not a 17-year-old for sure.
No,
definitely.
So do y'all have any thoughts on who would play those roles if Disney does feel themselves?
One just came to mind, but I don't know any singing capabilities whatsoever, and I know that she's also
saying on Flow.
I've also Florence Pugh can sing.
See, I couldn't present any evidence that she could. I just felt like she could.
She just
man,
she can do everything.
Go on YouTube right now and search Florence Pugh singing. She used to have a YouTube channel, and that's all she did. It was
what
like
I'm gonna go to bed listening to tonight.
It was like from the age of like 7 to like she started becoming an actress. She has just like YouTube videos of her singing.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
All right. She just moved up my list even higher.
There you go.
But anyway, I don't know if this person can sing, and I know she's been in a lot recently. But looks wise, I'm thinking McKenna Grace.
Bro, Katie has been sitting behind the camera right now.
Just flashed us with the big sign, McKenna Grace as her cast.
If anyone doesn't know who McKenna Grace is, I'm sure we'll have her face flashed up on the screen. You'll recognize her because she was in everything growing up. Like, I swear she was in everything as a child actor, and she's still been in a ton recently. So I do not hate that pick at all. Good pick.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun one way or the other, because that is one other than, I guess, a pretty animated horse that you can pretty much live action that through the whole way. You can not have to get too over the top CGI.
You can maybe even do a real horse. Have to be a really animated, like a really nice horse, or you could just write the roll down a little bit. They'd probably do an animated horse. We'll see. I would love to see the twins in the movie. The twin, they're kind of like the villains. I would love that to be Chris and Liam Hemsworth. I think that'd be really fun.
That's good. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know who Flynn Rider would be. That'd be more for our Oracle behind the screen. She can flash her pick up on the screen right now and maybe put a name for us. So yeah, that'd be interesting. We'll move on. That's about all the Disney live action we have.
Okay.
There's a little bit more Disney live action.
We do have one more. I do have one more Disney live action. You go ahead and tell me your Disney live action, and I'll give you my one more.
There has been a couple of updates recently on Hercules. And that's like my favorite Disney animated movie. So they better not butcher that. But the updates that we got were pretty significant. I don't know if you had anything on that, Randy.
What was that again? One more time. My AirPod fell out here. Hercules. Yeah, that was the one more I had. So I was going to use it to segue into some Avengers Doomsday talk.
Okay.
Because I did not I have 2 more live actions. So we'll circle back around to Avengers Doomsday. I did not realize the Russo brothers were doing live action Hercules.
They are, yeah, the Agbo banner or whatever.
Yeah, that's sick. So I said Tangled would probably be my most anticipated live action Disney. Hercules would probably be number 2. I'm a big Hercules fan. So some of the news I saw, they wanted to rename it to Hades and tell it from the villain's point of view.
Yeah, that's
Um,
what I saw as well, and I don't like that.
I don't
Not
either.
at all.
And
Let's not do that.
let's not. I don't think so. I think just like base level, there'd be a certain subsect of fans who would be like, I don't want to go see a movie named Hades. Like just in general,
hmm
probably put some people off, which is what it is. But I would like it to be. It doesn't have to be a direct like adaptation of the animated, but I would like for it to remain faithful. And it seems, according to the reporting, that Disney agrees and will want it to remain faithful to the original adaptation. So, but the Russo brothers carry a lot of weight. I'm assuming that that live action Hercules is probably going to have to wait till after they get done with the Avengers. So I think they
Yeah.
got bigger fish to fry right now. So probably looking 3 or 4 years out, but it's definitely down the line. That's going to be really exciting when it happens. I would love to talk about some casting, but like it's so far out.
Yes.
There are some. I mean, I've seen rumors just because people are going to talk about it.
Mhm.
I think like you got to find a younger guy. At some point they were talking about doing Chris Pratt as Hercules,
Right.
and I've seen some Austin Butler and maybe even Taron Egerton trying to play. Oh, I've seen one from Michael B. Jordan as well, which
hmm
I can see Michael B. Jordan in anything really.
Okay.
And then for Megara, I've seen Ariana Grande approached. Dua Lipa
Dua Lipa.
is one of the top, and I promise you, I'd see that movie 5 times before it left the theaters. But yeah, that's down the line. But Disney, it looks like at least Lilo and Stitch for now has saved Disney's live action hopes, because if it didn't hit, we probably wouldn't get another one for a while. But
Yeah.
it looks like they're feeling themselves a little bit. We have a couple more live actions. We've talked about the Zelda live action a couple times on here.
Mhm.
It has moved its release date. I don't know when it was originally released.
Right.
It has taken the Secret Wars spot for 2027.
Yes.
So 2026, I don't remember what moved in. Supergirl moved into the 2026 Doomsday spot, right?
Right. That's what we
Mhm.
talked about.
That's what we talked about a couple pods ago. And now the 2027 spot's been taken by live action Zelda, which is exciting, even though we don't have much on that for that to be just, less than 2 years out. We don't have a whole lot on it. But that was a non-Marvel, DC,
Right.
Disney live action that, as long as I'm here, this pod's going to track Zelda live
Hey,
action.
there we go.
I cannot wait for that movie.
Show the love.
And then one more. This is a live action from a brand that has not gotten into this yet.
Okay.
Nickelodeon.
All right.
Going to get into the live action gang.
Oh.
I asked Deanna about this. Deanna,
Okay.
who she was on the last pod, she'll be back here in a little bit. I asked her to guess what the movie was going to be that Nickelodeon was going to live action. It is one of their, I guess it's one of their brands. I'll
Right.
give it away. Say it's a series, and obviously it's animated. So what animated series do you think Disney or Nickelodeon, excuse me, is going to make live action?
I'm guessing it's one that when we were kids.
Yeah, for sure. I actually know
Okay.
the last date they aired because I had to look it up the other day to make sure Deanna would be in the range.
Okay.
And she was not, actually. So good on her for
So
getting
she
it right.
got she got it right.
First guess.
Wow.
Interesting.
Good live act or good animated series from Nickelodeon.
Rugrats.
Oh, I wish. That'd be cool.
Oh.
No.
That would be really,
Imagine
really
a bunch of
interesting
babies.
to
I don't know
see.
how you would do that. I'd love to see it though.
Yeah. I got no idea. I mean,
This one's a little later for sure.
okay. Yeah.
More
Oh, gosh.
action-y.
Danny Phantom.
Danny Phantom.
And that,
Live action Danny Phantom, which has been
I love that.
flirted with a little bit
big
here
time.
and there. The only thing I've ever seen from live action Danny Phantom is more so just like fan casting Danny Phantom for a movie that didn't exist yet. And now that we know Nickelodeon's working on it, I'm sure this fan cast is probably going to come back up. I don't see it happening, but the only name I've ever seen is Tom Holland. The creator of Danny Phantom, I believe, fan cast Tom Holland as Danny Phantom. And
Listen.
I think he's got a lot to do to go play Danny Phantom.
He's also not the age
No, not anymore.
at all anymore. Yeah.
So I don't know who I'd want to play Danny
I
Phantom.
think they could find a ton of talent to be able to really land that casting.
It just depends on, do you want to cast a known or an unknown? But I think you just, since it first Nickelodeon live action, it's going to be a whole new genre of these animated live actions. You just cast an unknown.
Yeah, I think you cast who you like the best. I don't think you have to go for a superstar to try to get people to watch that.
So all right, that's it for our animated live action.
Okay,
We're going to move on. Avengers Doomsday, we mentioned that a minute ago, will reportedly reveal what happened to Kang the Conqueror, which is interesting news that popped up, throughout my research this week. I don't know how they'll do that. I don't know if they'll bring Jonathan Majors back potentially, or if they'll just, do it off screen.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have any more news on if he's coming back to reveal it. It's just that we will know by the end of that movie what happened to him.
Yeah, well, I guess no matter what, you have to address it. You
You gotta.
throw your top villain that's supposed to carry on the new franchise away, and obviously the unfortunate situation with Jonathan Majors, whether he was done dirty, lots of opinions on that, but it has to be addressed. Now, what is important is how much time they give to it. Do they just sweep it under the rug with a quick nod, which I think would not be good.
Yeah.
But also you have a whole plot story that you have to tell, so you can't devote a ton of time to it.
Did Deadpool and Wolverine, was that the movie where they had a kind of like a swept under the rug line about the in the TVA about they were handling, there was a Kang variant on Earth 616 or something, they handled it?
I think there was
that in Deadpool and Wolverine?
I think that was
Or was that
at
Loki?
the end of Loki.
Loki
I think
season
that was
2?
the end of Loki.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a swept under the rug thing. They kind of alluded to the fact that maybe the TVA was, going around pruning Kang variants, and that was all they were going to address. So it's good that they're at least going to give it some more time in Avengers Doomsday. I don't think it'll be much more than maybe Doom killing the Council of Kangs.
Yeah.
If we get a scene like that, just to kind of maybe like an opening scene or something. I don't know. We'll see though.
But it's something like that too that I get scared about. Like, cause no matter what, you can't get past the embarrassment of it failing.
Yeah.
That little stretch of time. But I think that just emphasizes more how bad it was. If you bring something in that just crushes it like that too, So I can't sit here and give the perfect way to get past it. But I don't know.
It's not a situation I want to be in. You got to make sure you don't bury the character forever too, because down the line they're going to reboot MCU. We're probably going to bring Kang back at some point, so he can't be buried completely. But it's definitely a tough situation. I trust the Russo brothers to get it right though. They've been pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty successful at what they do.
Speaking of great Marvel villains, we're going to hop on to our next thing, Vision Quest. A little bit of Vision Quest news. I don't know if that show's going to be called Vision Quest or if it's going to be called just Vision. But it has been confirmed that James Spader is returning as Ultron in that series.
Wow, okay.
And we got 5 AIs that are all going to be featured in it.
Right.
And we're going to get Ultron back in some way, shape, or form. And James Spader actually returning to be Ultron. So, Bryce, I know you've talked a lot about how much you love, Ultron's whole character and just, a weight to everything he says to get him back. That's kind of major, I think, for Disney Plus, because that's going to be a Disney Plus series.
I think so. My initial thought, just hearing that news, would be that he is going to be a huge part of Vision's conscious, having dealt with the situation, and we literally got to see good versus evil of the same character when it came to Age of Ultron. That was when we got introduced to Vision.
Yeah.
So then when he had this whole, identity crisis, the whole point, our podcast name.
Yeah, we almost have to cover this.
Theseus Reassembled, right? Talking about which ship is the real ship, who is the real Vision. So I think as we move on through, White Vision being able to go and I don't know whether he could be struggling with his identity or not, but going through his, subconscious and his thoughts, I think Ultron's going to be a huge part of that. So I think that could be really, really cool, and I'm going to like that a lot.
Yeah, and I watched Age of Ultron recently, and I kind of forget that a part of Vision is Ultron, because Ultron was uploading himself into that body before Vision, or I guess Jarvis was also put in. So he's not Jarvis or Ultron. He's like a mix of both, and then also a mix of the Mind Stone as well. So yeah, no, I'm excited for that show, because what it seems like they're doing is kind of like a trilogy based thing.
Yeah.
With WandaVision, Agatha, and Vision Quest.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a trilogy of series that are all going to be connected, because obviously WandaQuest tells us where those characters went. Or WandaVision tells us where those characters went. Agatha tells you what happened because of where they went, at least for one of the kids. And then I think Vision Quest is going to be the Vision side of it, where like what happened to him afterwards, and then I think we're also going to get the resolution of the second kid, which I'm blanking on his name, but I know his name is Speed in the comics. Tommy
Maximoff. And that's a good little segue as well, as we are going to move on to the other kid, the kid who's still around at the moment, Billy Maximoff, who was featured in Agatha all along. Marvel Champions is a series that's coming. It's also the name of an old card game that Marvel had too, but they're recycling this name. It's going to be a Marvel Disney Plus show. Marvel Champions is replacing the Young Avengers. So instead of it being Young Avengers, it's going to be called Marvel Champions.
Right.
And the six-person cast, the 6 main characters for the Champions or the Young Avengers, has been revealed. Do y'all have y'all wanna try to go 6 for 6 on these? I've already given you Billy Maximoff. Do you want to try to knock out the other 5? Joe Locke as Billy Maximoff.
Okay.
I mean, I know 2 for sure because we already know they're forming the team.
Yeah.
So, Haley Steinfeld.
Of course, yeah. Kate Bishop,
and then I'm trying to think of the actress's name. Miss Marvel.
Yep. Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
And then there are 3 more.
Okay.
Looking at the list, it's a very girl heavy team. We don't have a lot of young dudes in the comics. Or in the movies.
I feel like I've seen this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's gonna be as a silly.
Okay. Yeah.
But is it Squirrel Girl?
No. No, that would be.
Shout out Rivals.
I feel like it would be a missed op, obviously, because they said it at the end of the Marvels, I think. But is it Ant-Man's kid?
Yeah, Cassie Lang. Catherine
right,
Newton
Cassie.
playing Cassie Lang. Yep. So it's just 2 more. One of them kind of makes sense if they're going to put together a Young Avengers team for this person to be here, and the other one's probably just because she's also a young character in the MCU.
Ironheart,
Riri Williams. Yep. Dominique Thorne.
Okay.
And then the last one, another newly introduced character. I don't know if she has a connection to the others yet, though.
Okay.
Oh, she's also a she.
She's also a she. Yeah.
So we got one guy on this team.
Billy Maximoff's the lone dude.
You know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I am too.
Because, and I'll tell you why. Because we got the Avengers originally. It was flipped.
Yeah, just Nat. So I'm okay with that. And I mean, it's all super powerful girls too.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I'm not messing with any of them.
This is going to be this team can maybe wipe the Thunderbolts.
Oh, watch out.
Yeah, too far.
Is it America?
It is America Chavez. I don't know how to say the
wow.
actress's name though.
Sochi Gomez.
No shot. I would not have gotten that right. I was going like Zoctil or something. Sochi Gomez. I'll write down that for the future pronunciation. So yeah, you got Kate Bishop, Miss Marvel, America Chavez, Riri Williams, Cassie Lang, and Billy Maximoff as the Young Avengers in a little Disney Plus series, which should be pretty fun. I don't know. I don't have a release date on that, but I'm assuming.
Yeah, they've clearly been pedaling the way towards a Young Avengers team.
I mean, there's a way. Yeah. If America Chavez is there, I feel like, depending on when it's released, it's got to have some sort of tie-in with Doomsday or Secret Wars, because she's going to play a major part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so anything that she's going to be in is going to have to be heavy.
Yeah,
heavy consequence one way or the other.
So yeah, that's pretty interesting.
I'm going to go on record now. So go ahead and clip this and say that I guarantee that Tommy will be on that team.
Okay.
And I guarantee that a version of Hulkling will be on that team.
Okay.
We have been introduced
to a Hulkling, and they were no Hulkling listed amongst the cast.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we haven't been introduced to Hulkling yet.
Not to Hulkling.
Yeah, not to Hulkling.
But what is it, Braun? Is that
yeah. Right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, he had a horrendous haircut.
Check who we got introduced to, and it starts with a B.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hulk's son, I guess, maybe something like that. So you get that feature. It is.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Scar. It's Scar.
Yeah, Scar.
Not even close to B.
Yeah, Braun. I don't know. So yeah, maybe get Scar. Maybe get and then like you said, I think as long as Tommy, they can't reveal if Tommy Maximoff's going to be there yet, because you'd be spoiling a lot. I feel like him, he's going to be a big feature at some point here soon. They're building towards trying to find him. So Yeah, you can't really reveal him if he is going to be on the team. So that's a good one. We'll clip that and post it for sure, so we can come back to it down the road and say you called it. Only a couple more MCU casting rumors. We still have we've talked about Sadie Sink for a while, maybe on every pod, and the rumors are starting to get heavier about who she's going to be playing.
Okay.
And it's the one I think would be my last option. It seems like she's rumored to play an alternate universe version of Gwen Stacy.
Alternate universe.
Alternate universe specifics to that, because we do not have an MCU Gwen Stacy yet, but it was specifics to say an alternate universe Gwen Stacy. So that is I don't know. I mean, I guess she could play Spider-Gwen.
And if that's where we're trending, and if we're talking about Miles Morales being pulled out of Into the Spider-Verse, having Sadie Sink be Spider-Gwen from the same thing, we already know they chase each other all over the multiverse.
And they've mentioned Earth 19999 or whatever already.
That would be really cool.
Y'all hear that?
What's that?
What's that?
It's raining really loud right now.
Okay.
Anyway. Sorry.
No, yeah, you're safe.
Well, we're good. So yeah, no, that'd be sick if she plays specifically that version, because it can't be Haley Steinfeld,
Right.
because I mean she's Kate Bishop, but I mean she could do both, but she just isn't. She's not like the age, I don't think, to play the live action.
Yeah.
You're definitely gonna have to, if you're gonna bring the same ones over, you're gonna have to recast them.
Yeah, you're gonna recast.
So that'd be super tough, honestly. That kind of makes sense if she does play that. If you're gonna do an alternate universe Gwen Stacy,
have it.
You're either bringing Emma Stone back or you're casting somebody new to play that specific one.
Spider-Verse.
I was watching that movie earlier today with my nephew. So, and I every time they mention the nerd back on Earth number 19999 in Doctor Strange, I like kind of jump a little bit. Yes. Like I can't wait. So I know that's coming. So yeah, maybe that's what it is. I didn't even thought about that until we just started talking about it. That'd be fun. And the only other MCU casting news that I didn't want to put it on the list, but I saw it so many times this week.
Okay.
And it's probably because The Last of Us just wrapped. Bella Ramsey is being eyed for a big MCU role.
I saw.
Yeah. As who though? Do you have any guesses? Or I will say I don't have any news on it. So I don't know who she
I would
play.
say it's an X. I would say it's an X-Men.
Okay. Could she play like Rogue?
Kitty Pryde.
Kitty Pryde.
Kitty Pryde is a great pool.
That is exactly what it is.
That's a great guess.
Yeah. Well,
that is. You know what? Yeah.
We'll lock that in. I'll write that down, that we have guessed Kitty Pryde, and we'll circle back to this whenever we find out who she's playing. But I like Kitty Pryde as our guess. All right. So we did talk about we were done with the MCU casting, but we did talk about Sadie Sink coming over as an alternate universe. We almost got some more alternate universe shenanigans. Sony, they had their universe and did everything they could to connect it to Marvel's. They're doing everything they could to trick people into connecting to this Marvel's. And obviously, we're recycling a little bit of Madam Web stuff because Dakota Johnson has been on the press tour for The Materialists, which our Oracle has gone on record to say was the worst movie she ever saw.
Slightly disappointing.
Yeah. She didn't. She actually did say it was the worst movie she ever saw. I don't think she meant it at the time, but she was not happy.
With the Pedro Pascal hype, I'm sure the disappointment was just that much heavier. So I get it.
Because of the press tour, Dakota Johnson's been back out, and it kind of happens when you're in a Marvel or Marvel-adjacent movie. You're going to be asked about that for a long time afterwards. And some more news has come out that when she signed on, obviously, she mentioned it back then, she thought it was an MCU movie. Yeah. And as it's got back up on the press tour, it was originally connected to the MCU, and there was they planned to feature Peter Parker in the movie. Which Peter Parker? Sony did not care. Okay. They would have taken any. This is what the report said, that they were good. They were ready for Toby, Andrew, or Tom. They were going to make it work.
They were changed the script to however it had to be.
Yeah, they were going to make it work. They didn't have a preference, and it never, obviously didn't happen. But they really wanted to connect that movie to the MCU because I feel like that equals free money to connect it to the MCU. But I do think there were plans at some point for Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney and the other girls to connect to the MCU. Yeah, so it kind of sucks for Dakota Johnson. That's, with that movie and then Materialists, it's like you're kind of having a bad run at it. Unfortunate for her, because it does seem like when she signed up, She was signing on to an MCU adjacent movie. So unfortunate for them. And
I saw recently they released these like mock, I don't remember if they were popcorn buckets or cups, and it had like MCU news stamped on all the side of it, like that was the cup and the like popcorn bucket for the movie.
Yeah, like a Daily
and then,
Bugle
like, they
wrap.
Just, like, and they just like weren't allowed to do it because they're like, this isn't MCU.
No,
Stop it.
That was all from the same reporting. I didn't have that written down. That was a good pull. And because with the deal with Marvel, they cannot use Peter Parker. They pretty much have a deal where it's like, we're going to keep everything but the main character. You cannot say Peter Parker in the movie, which is why they never mentioned the kid's name.
Yeah.
Madam Web. Cannot use any of them. They couldn't even use Tom or Andrew if they wanted to, or Toby or Andrew. And like, even to the point, Tom Holland allegedly, this is, as part of this reporting with how desperate Sony was to connect to the MCU, they allegedly filmed a Tom Holland cameo for Venom, but Marvel just, because of the deal, they blocked it. They're like, you're not, and he wasn't even like, he was just in his regular street clothes, so he wasn't like Spider-Man or anything, and maybe not even mentioned by name, but they were like, no, you're not doing that. Like, stop trying. And it's just it's kind of disappointing. I feel like I don't even know what Sony's got left other than the animated at this point. And once the animated ones go to live action, it's just kind of like they're pretty cooked. So I thought that was funny, just with the Dakota Johnson stuff coming back up. Figured we'd mention, and of course, I that was the first time I'd seen that Tom Holland actually filmed a cameo, like an on-set cameo for Venom, other than just appearing in a post-credit scene with other footage. So we're gonna move on to some more current stuff. We're talking to the juicy stuff now. Okay. We're getting into the summer blockbuster stuff.
Gotcha.
So the Fantastic Four, Superman, Jurassic World Rebirth are the three major movies this summer, with Superman and Fantastic Four kind of being a step above Jurassic World, I think, and in terms of expectations. Jenkins, I saw you had a video earlier this week where you talked about Miles Teller's comments in the Fantastic Four, wishing him real good.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to bring this up because I would love to see, not in the Fantastic Four movie, but maybe in Secret Wars. It may even be in the Fantastic Four movie, where we get a council, or not the Council of Kings. You get the Council of Reeds, and obviously, I don't think you're gonna have a full. I mean, I guess you could have like a full, kind of like they did the Council of Kings, but I specifically want to see Miles Teller. I think his name's Yoy Grofold. Is that how you say his name? The OG, the 2005-2007 Fantastic, Reed Richards. And then I do still want to see John Krasinski come back. Might as well.
Gotta.
Do you think there's any chance Miles Teller comes back as a cameo in a Council of Reed situation?
I don't know if there's a possibility, but I would rather. I've talked about this for probably a couple of years now, but I would rather see Miles Teller come back as the Maker, which is, I'm reading through Secret Wars now, and basically the Maker is a version of Reed Richards that was like, went down a dark path and got neglected by society, and that's kind of what we did as fans to his movie. So I think that would be hilarious. And he's like he is at times the main villain of Secret Wars, and that's something they could easily do, and I think that would just be perfection.
It is so teed up in the real world setup, and he's, he mentioned it. I saw, your clip the other day, talked about no one wants to be a part of a bomb, and wishes everybody well, but like, you can tell he has so many negative feelings, associated with what that movie could have been. It had so much potential, and to have him get that redemption as that version of Reed becoming evil would make, like, it's there. It would not take any sort of leap or you're not reaching to see him become the Maker, and to see him become the Maker and become, I don't want him to become the main villain of Secret Wars over Doom, but to see him factor in as a major villain in Secret Wars. First of all, like, getting Miles Teller in that movie, if you figure out at the end of Doomsday that he's going to be involved, I think Miles Teller is enough of a pull to where that's going to bump the movie even more, considering there's still a ton of A-listers in it. But that would be so freaking cool if we got him to come back and do that. That's the only reason I brought that up, so we could get to the point of him becoming the Maker. I wanted to talk about that on the pod.
I know you big fan.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, Randy, I know you talk about a lot too. how like eventually the MCU will reboot, and one of the biggest reboots in the comics is when the Maker becomes the champion of Secret Wars, and he gets like his wish or whatever, and he basically wishes that like he could live in a hero with like, I mean, live in a world with no heroes, and it flashes back to him like. It flashes back to like Spider-Man or Peter Parker when he's a kid about to get bit by a spider, and a hand reaches out and grabs it and crushes the spider, and it flips over and it's the Maker, and he like stopped Peter Parker from becoming
Crazy.
Spider-Man.
That would be so tough.
Yeah.
That would be, I mean, yeah, that could be a way for Sony to get the rights back too. Shout out Sony. But no, yeah, that'd be so sick. I hope. I don't want to get my hopes up because there's nothing leading us to believe that we're gonna get the Maker. But if we got Miles Teller as the Maker, if I see Miles Teller in a cameo, I'm just gonna like my thoughts are immediately gonna go to, oh my god, he's gonna become the Maker. I'm gonna be really if he comes in back as Reed Richards, that's cool. But like if he ends up becoming the Maker, I'm gonna squeal in the theater. That's gonna be so sick. Big Marvel Rivals guy too. I you know, if you're a Marvel Rivals fan,
Rivals.
you've seen the costume. You know what it looks like. That would look so cool in live action. So but yeah, staying on Fantastic Four talk. I mentioned the 3 big summer blockbusters that are all coming out in July. Jurassic World Rebirth has been projected at over 100 million domestic box office opening, over 115 million. And of course, Superman and Fantastic Four are both over 100 million. So we could get 3 $100 million box office. This is just opening weekend, domestic opening weekends. We get 3 of them in the same month.
I might jump the gun a little bit, but I think they got it.
Yeah,
Easy.
I do too.
I mean, I think that's slight.
So the big thing, and why we're getting to this because this was a big week. This past week was a big week for the marketing and the marketing tactics used by both DC and Marvel in the Superman and Fantastic Four. Do you want to guess which movie is projected to win that battle at the current moment ahead of time, based off pre-sales and other factors?
Give me Soups.
I'm going Superman as well.
Superman, is projected to outperform pretty heavily, honestly. Yeah. Superman's projected for $154 to $175 million domestic opening weekend, which would be, I don't know what else. I don't have the full list of DC in front of me, but that would, I would have to think, be a major W for Warner Brothers.
I mean, and that's just like, if you look at the comic universe, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Right? We're introducing a new universe with the most important hero in all of herodom.
Yeah.
You know? So to have people this excited about it just makes me so happy.
It's exciting.
I also saw something this morning, or I guess it wasn't this morning, but earlier today that blew my mind. And I don't know if it's true, but it was talking about the budget of Superman. Yeah. And I've seen so many numbers thrown around, but the number that I just saw recently makes it the highest the movie with the highest budget ever at $530 million.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my goodness.
Apparently they're throwing the
that
kitchen sink at marketing. I've seen number for the marketing being $250 alone, which is, you're talking like, that's James Cameron type of money for a movie. So that means the movie would have to hit $2 billion to be a success. But I don't think for it to be a standalone success, but I don't think they're viewing this as if Superman doesn't flip a profit, like we're shutting the whole thing down. We're viewing it as if Superman doesn't establish a fandom for our extended universe, it's a failure. So I think they're willing to, throw 500 million, which is an absurd number, throw 500 million at Superman because it is literally building the foundation for if it fails, then they're probably not going forward with the DCU, which everything looks like it's going to be a major success.
Yeah, Randy, what were you about to say? I mean, Jenks, what were you about to say?
Yeah, no, it's an investment. Yeah. Like if this movie needs to do well, and if this one does well, then you got money coming in from other movies.
James Gunn knew 100% what he was doing. He did not come in this thing for any money grabs. He had that all day at Marvel, and he's coming here to do something special in DC, and obviously the head of DC. So
he's trying to be a Kevin Feige over at DC. He wants, when he's not directing these movies, he wants to be able to sit back and cash those cushy executive producer checks.
And he knows how to make good stuff. He knows how to make things that people want. I'm sure we got the trailer coming up in the news here too, and the new trailer that just dropped this week. I think has got to make the reaction. But I mean, he is like cooking it slow, and obviously that makes perfect sense with the marketing budget, the way they built this thing up to the to release week.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. Fantastic Four projected to have a great opening as well, 125 to 136 plus $1 million opening domestic weekend, which would be that would be third all time in the July release window for Marvel. It's kind of been a mixed window, but it would finish like above Spider-Man Homecoming. So I think Fantastic Four finishing a little above where Spider-Man Homecoming was, because I feel like it is a similar vibe where the Fantastic Four are coming home. It is a Fantastic Four Homecoming as well. So if it finishes right there, 125 or so, I think Marvel would be happy because you're probably walking off feeling better about yourself. You're probably going to finish, a decent 600 to 800 million overall there. Because at the end, we look at it as fans, like, do we care about the movie? Is like we all love the Thunderbolts, but Marvel's looking at the Thunderbolts like, dude, another movie, we didn't make a profit. So it is important that at some point these movies turn a profit. And early suggestions seem like Fantastic Four is going to be the one to change the vibe for them. So that'll be really exciting.
Yeah.
And they both.
And how exciting is
Yeah.
that? How exciting is that we have two superhero movies coming out in July? Superman's gonna, I
Yeah.
think, pretty easily clear $1 billion, and I think Fantastic Four is gonna get pretty close. So I like to see that because the superhero fatigue talk was coming up too
Yeah.
often recently. So to see two just bangers come out back to back in July, refreshing. To
Maybe
say the
even
least.
bring about like or I say rivalry. I'm going to say rivalry, but in a good way, like a DC versus Marvel rivalry. Kind of like, I'm a big pro wrestling fan. WWE versus WCW back in the day, where you would claim you're a fan of one, but you truly watch both, and it's a rising tide
Mhm.
lifts all boats. And I think, could you imagine, like, if we had, when we were going through the Infinity Saga, if we had a really popular, competent DC saga going along with it, that would have been I just can't imagine. I don't think superhero fatigue would have set in. I think you could have built to something crazy if they had them both going side by side at the same time. So we may get a situation where these both Marvel and DC go side by side, and maybe even have an extended period where DC becomes the popular studio for comic book movies, which would be absurd. I know
Yeah.
Bryce would love that. Big DC guy over here.
mean, I'm waiting for the main character for sure.
Yeah. So, which he's on our list to talk about. But I mentioned the marketing a bit ago because Marvel and DC kind of pulled out some stops on each other. Marvel kind of jumped the gun on DC. Fantastic Four comes out 2 weeks after Superman, but their tickets went on sale a week earlier. And so, real interesting that they would jump the gun, which is very, not a normal thing. But DC, had the ace in the hole. They called up. This has been planned for a while, but they had a deal with Amazon to do the early screenings on Tuesday, July 8th, which immediately, those tickets are selling out all over the place. And then they also released the trailer that we'll talk about here in a second, along with their opening ticket sales. And Superman actually, after Fantastic Four did a tremendous opening day for Thursday night previews, there's already guaranteed a $25 million just Thursday opening. Superman has topped that and has done an even better first day opening. That's just for the Thursday, not even counting the Tuesday Amazon Prime. So a little bit of chess being played between the two studios there to secure the better opening, which is I'm
all for that.
I'm a
Get
business
butts
major
in the theaters.
Yeah, say anything to get butts in the theaters. And then on top of that, I'm a business major. I love the finances behind all this and the chess to see everything can be a competition. And which one of these movies makes more money is definitely going to be a competition. So to see them have a little bit of fun with that, and James Gunn also said, he's like, hey, there's room for both of us. Like, you come see us open at night. You have a 2-week break and go see them open at night. So he said he loves his friends at Marvel's. So it's not a rivalry, and the fact that he's hyping them up still does give me hope that one day we'll see a DC versus Marvel live action. That's the dream. I would love to see that built too one day. So we'll talk about that trailer a little bit. One thing that I picked from the trailer and that I've seen floated around the internet is an unnamed villain. Well, people think it's Ultraman, and they think it could be David Cornsweet playing the villain who is the clone of Superman.
Right.
What I mean, he's fighting somebody with laser vision in the trailer. Do we anybody else it could be, or do we think that might be the move here?
I think that's definitely the move, and I think it's it's that character with like who has like the like dark black
Yeah.
outfit, and he's got like
Right.
a U on
Of
his
course.
chest. I think that's one. I think it's 100% David Cornsweet just playing two different
Yeah.
people, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean that would be the right way
Yeah,
to do
of
it.
course. If you're gonna clone the guy, have the same guy play him. David Cornsweet can handle it too. He's pretty much playing two characters anyways, the way he's playing Clark Kent Superman. So just add a third onto it.
And how we got to that process is going to be interesting to find out too, and shows the you
Yeah.
know the kind of who we're dealing with is this Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
And Jenkins, like as Jenkins told me about his new nickname that has been given to him via the new release of this trailer. Go ahead and say
yeah.
that real quick.
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, give me
Flex
Flex
Luthor.
Luthor with the
After
aura.
his aura
The aura.
farming
I
of
love
the
that.
trailers, unbelievable. Flex Luthor.
I love that. Yep. Yeah, very excited for that movie. So I think, that was the biggest thing I picked up from the trailer. So
Yeah, and now getting to see the big time. I keep talking about the build up that Gunn has done the whole time. We first get introduced to the trailer of Crypto being cute, tugging on the cake. Right now, we get a little Superman action in the official trailer drop. Now, new trailer drops. Him and Crypto just going to work throughout. So I mean, it's really exciting.
yeah,
Yes.
very exciting. I was a big fan of the Crypto the Superdog show as a child.
Yes.
So it's pretty cool to see Crypto in the movie. So a little bit more of DC. DC, James Gunn, he did confirm that Wonder Woman is in development.
Yes.
So we are getting, and the big three: Superman, Wonder Woman, of course, Batman.
Yep.
Be interesting to see how they handle the DCU's Batman. But we do, we do know that a Wonder Woman is in development, and they do have. The reports said that there was an actress in talks to play Wonder Woman, but it did list 3 names, but it listed one of them as a part as in talks, kind of ahead of the other 2. So
right.
Any guesses?
I think I know the 3. I can't remember the first one.
Yeah, I think me and Bryce talked
Okay.
about the 3 actually earlier this week.
2 being Ana de Armas and Alexandra Daddario.
Ana de Armas is the one that's in talks.
Really?
That's the one that I've seen reported as in talks.
Interesting.
Alexandra Daddario and Adria.
Yes.
I don't know how to say it.
Adria Arjona.
And
where is she from, Jenkins? Do you know?
She is from Andor, and she was in Hitman with Glenn Powell.
Because I've seen the other 2 in a lot of stuff, but I couldn't remember if I'd seen her anywhere.
And she's incredible in Andor. That's kind of who we lean towards.
Yeah? You would like to see her?
Now, I said I think Daddario can do it.
I think she can.
Ana de Armas would be the last of the pick of that. And though I love Ana de Armas, I don't think I love her as well.
I thought that maybe. So she was just in John Wick, the ballerina, right?
The ballerina, which I would say bumped if I would have heard this list before that, she would have been last. I think she 2
bumps
now.
up. That's why
I think Ana de Armas is 2.
I was thinking that maybe, like, I'm not saying she took the role just to like get ready to play Wonder Woman, but taking an action role kind of shows that maybe she can do this.
She can 100% do it. She's a phenomenal actress. And, is well-rounded. Got to lead up into the action stuff with her first bit, getting to be a Bond girl.
Yeah.
Picked by Daniel Craig after they worked together in Knives Out. So she can definitely do it. And does resemble a little more like comic accurate. We talk about Amazonian. And that type of stuff too. So yeah, she can definitely do it. I don't doubt.
Yeah. So be interesting to see who they go with here. I think that's something that'll be cast pretty soon. And I think we talked about Supergirl coming out. It's less than a year now, which is kind of crazy if they stick to that original release date, where they moved up to May, which, to my knowledge, Supergirl hadn't started filming or anything. So you hit the ground running on.
Supergirl is done filming.
Yeah, I saw an interview where she talked, where she was being asked about, like, what was kind of your moment of feeling super? Was it when you put on the costume? Or when you got on set for the first time? And she was like, I mean, hey, I never really felt that way. I was just kind of, doing, just out there filming, having fun, yada yada. So
thinking back, Supergirl's is she in Superman?
Yeah, she's
not confirmed, but everybody
it would make
so.
sense if they're already done filming it too.
In fact, in the trailer, do you remember the scene? It's in one of the trailers where there's like that all gold like armor person that shoots a laser at him. people think
Okay.
that's her, and she's like under brainwash or
Makes
something.
sense. So okay, yeah, it could be interesting.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think we talk about the big three. I think it's in the DCU is going to be the big four. With Supergirl being the fourth, I think they are going to make a push for Supergirl to be really important. So maybe see Wonder Woman. Like, I guess you could add it late to have her like a post credit scene.
And there was just a very recent interview with Corn Sweat, Rachel Brosnahan, and Gunn that came out, I think, in the last 2 days of them talking about it, and just to talk, more about the trailer and stuff like that, but the dynamic between Superman and Lois and how important it is in this movie, and how Lois is just this big time grounding and humbling thing for factor for Superman. So getting to watch that play out throughout the screen. I'll be honest, that Rachel Brosnahan was not my first pick. I really, really, really wanted Emma Mackey.
Yeah.
But I think Brosnahan is going to kill it.
Yeah. Yeah. So be interesting to see what they do there. And we mentioned Batman several times here. James Gunn did talk about the Batman Part 2. He said they're expecting a script on his desk in the next couple days. This is an interview the other day, and he said the Batman Part 2 is a big part of the foundation we're building here at DC, but it is not. It's not part of the DCU. So it kind of leaves everybody still kind of wondering, like, what are we gonna do? Like, we're gonna have the Batman and Robert Pattinson, but if he's not going to be a part of the DCU, are we going to have a DCU with no Batman, or are we going to have two different Batman going at one time? Which is, I mean, I guess you don't have to have two different Batman going. Part 2 could end Robert Pattinson's run as Batman.
Right. Yeah. And I don't think that it would be a huge problem. I think, and you don't worry that he is kind of just like alluding to him being saying he's a big part of what we're doing here.
I don't think Matt Reeves wants his Batman to be in the DCU.
I don't want Matt Reeves' Batman to be in the DCU. I'm with you, Matt.
Yeah.
Watching the trailer, I cannot see Pattinson in that world at all. That's not what they're doing. That's not and so seeing the direction that they go, I was really excited for us to talk about this. But where and who are the big candidates right now and stuff like that. So Jensen Ackles is still by far my pick to be Batman, and I'd be okay with John Hamm.
Has he voiced a Batman at some point? Jensen Ackles?
Has.
Oracle has
in Crisis. I think in the new Crisis on I think
it's got to be on HBO. Are you talking about on a streaming service?
No, it's HBO. The newest Crisis movies.
Okay. He voices Batman.
He voices Batman in both of them.
I could see it. I mean, 100% I could see it. And like, I guess his age profile probably needs to be somewhat close to Corn Sweat. You think they need to be kind of close?
And I think that works. After his performance as Soldier Boy.
Yeah, that's true. We know he can do the superhero thing.
Yeah, obviously very different character.
Yeah, but he's around there. So, she trying to tell us he voiced
Red Hood.
Red Hood.
Who is Red Hood?
Jensen Ackles.
Oh,
so he's already
played Red Hood
in voicing.
Fancy. So he's done a lot.
Yeah, he's around. So DC definitely has his phone number.
They know DC's got his.
They got his number
for sure.
So the only thing left we have is a little bit more DC rumors.
Okay.
Clayface. We've talked about that.
Yes.
I think it's gonna be a horror, like a horror type movie. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that just excites me.
And I think I don't. The thing is it going to be a Max release or is it going to be a theatrical release? That's depends. But we do have 4 names, and apparently one of these has been marked out, but I never could find which one has been taken off. But the 4 names that I have are Leo Woodall from The White Lotus.
Okay.
Jack O'Connell from Sinners.
Yes.
George McKay from 1917. And Tom Blythe from The Hunger Game, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, as Clayface. The only one of those I'm any familiar with is Tom Blythe. And I thought he was pretty good in The Hunger Games as a young President Snow.
Seeing Jack O'Connell as Remick in Sinners, that's
your pick.
I could see him play any villain and any different archetype. I would buy a ticket to watch him play the character. So he's got my vote as Clayface.
We'll circle Jack O'Connell. As your pick. So
the funny thing for me is like I feel like I've seen all of those people in multiple things. The funny thing with me is that I feel like they picked three. If those are the names, those are three just very
Yeah.
different people who act in very different styles. Like I can't see Leo Wadall as Clayface at all unless they just took a completely
Yeah.
different route with it.
Yeah, it
So
kind of makes you
I don't
question the
know.
vision that they have with the character too. Are they going to try to let it be more of a, like a free flowing thing with the actor,
Yeah.
or do they have a vision that they're pursuing? If
Mhm.
they do, they have quite the range of
They,
actors that they're picking.
very true.
So yeah, that's interesting. That's a good point, Jenkins.
Yep. So that is it. That's it for our news, and
Okay,
it's on to segment time. Whenever y'all are
nice.
ready.
All right, well here. Actually, you know what, Jenkins, lead us off. What you
Yep.
got?
All right. Well, I do in fact have a segment. I suppose for Randy today. So what I'm gonna do is I have research, extensively. 5 quotes. Okay. These could have come from comics. They could have come from movies. But these 5 quotes, you're going to have to guess who said them. Either Captain America or
Okay.
Cap or
Superman.
Superman. Okay.
Okay. 2 big leaders in their respective universes. And I'll say that it's a win if you can get. Is 3 out of 5 fair, or should we go 5 for 5? You got to get all 5.
We'll determine that at the end
Yeah,
and see
we'll
how
see.
well he did.
We'll
How
see.
about
All right. And I have a off camera. I have a kryptonite, anti-kryptonite vibranium shield for
There we
you.
go.
If you
Boom.
There we
get
go.
all these off, well, they'll
There
never
you go.
know that I actually don't have that. Number 1. All right. Quote: I believe in second chances. I believe in redemption, but mostly I believe in my friends. Who said
At
that?
first, I was leaning Soups, but that's got to be Cap.
It would be Superman. You're 0
I'm
for
a big
1.
don't second guess yourself type of guy. I was heavy on
There you
Superman
go.
there. I got all right.
See, that kind of the friends kind
The
of threw me
friends
off
threw me
too.
off.
But I was
The friends, and I tried to pick these strategically in order to make it a little bit difficult.
This is
Yeah.
revenge for the movie game last week.
there. You go. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
He came for
Yeah.
blood.
I'm getting back at you for sure.
This is good.
Quote number 2. Quote: The world must never again make the fatal error of mistaking compassion for weakness. End quote.
I don't want to second guess myself, but I'm gonna go Cap.
No,
That
That
would
was
be
such a
Captain
super
America.
bro.
that is a
and
yeah.
That felt so Superman-y.
Yeah, no, I was deep in my bag for this one because that is quite literally like a quote that can sum up the
Yeah, that
upcoming
was
Superman
absolutely
movie.
nothing
So,
but a reverse
yeah.
psychology pick because that is 100%.
Bro, that's the only reason I
Superman.
felt so
That is a
tricked.
Superman.
That's the
quote.
only reason I picked Cap is because I felt so tricked. So yeah,
There you go.
that was a good one. That was a really good one.
Quote number 3. If you knew how you are loved, not one of you would raise a hand in rage again.
I'm gonna go Soups because I feel like that's something that somebody from off world could look at humanity and say. I'll go Superman.
That is correct. That was Superman.
Let's
2
go.
for 3.
I like Superman for that one.
That felt Superman-y. Sure.
2 for
There
3.
we go. 2 for 3.
Hey, can you do you have where that's from,
I can find
or
out.
do you just have the quotes?
I can find out. Do you want to know? Do you have like
I
an
know.
idea of where it's from?
Yeah. Say it again. Say the quote again.
Here, I'm doing a little bit of researching and filling the time so that there's no
Okay.
quiet moment. If you knew how you were loved, not one of you would raise a hand in rage again.
Yeah. It kind of feels injustice-y, but that might not be true.
It's from a comic. It's not from.
Okay.
That one's from a comic.
Well, I mean,
but it could be. Yeah.
yeah. Right.
Yeah. All right. We're moving on to number 4. Randy is 2 for 3.
Let's go.
I know who I am. I rescue the helpless. I raise up the hopeless. I don't measure people's lives. I save them.
It could be both of them, but that just feels so Cap. I don't know if I should go back to the reverse because the last one wasn't. I'm gonna go Cap. That feels so Cap, even though. Yeah.
That is Captain America.
Okay,
Nice,
all right.
nice,
we
nice,
went
nice,
away from the
nice.
reverse
I
psychology
like
for two.
Superman better for that one.
Did you?
3 for
Yeah.
4. That was
Yeah.
a very Superman quote, rescuing the helpless.
That,
I like
yeah,
Cap.
what?
Yeah, rescuing the helpless. I
Yeah.
felt immediately drawn to Cap on that one.
Hey, well,
I
you
think
did
it was
before.
the
That was right.
I think it was the I raise up the hopeless that did. I was like, oh, that's a Superman
think-
quote right there.
Hope, yeah.
Maybe.
All hope.
Yeah.
All right,
Hope's a
finally,
big thing for him.
for all the marbles,
For all the marbles.
you can't throw morality in the garbage just because life's tough.
I'm gonna go Cap.
That is Superman. That one was
That's
Zeus.
crazy.
Yeah.
That one's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
3 for 5. Yeah.
3 for
we'll
5.
take.
So I guess that is what I said that you had to get to though. Those were tough and they were purposely tough. So that was pretty
Yeah,
good.
those are
very
very
good. on
Those
three
are
for
very
five,
good. That was
yeah,
a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
That was a
pretty
lot
good.
of fun.
All right.
Nice, Jinx. All right.
Yep.
Well, I got something to get everybody going right here.
All right, here
okay?
we go.
Well, avid Letterbox fans. Shout out Letterbox. Okay. So what I have right here in front of me is the list of the top 10 movies that are popular this week on Letterbox.
Okay.
Obviously, it's the first thing you see when you get into the app.
Yep.
All the movies that are right there popular this week. How many of the top 10 this week can we name
And this would
on
be
the podcast?
the
Okay.
week of
That is as of today.
today,
Okay. As of today, June 14th.
June 14th.
June
Okay.
14th.
That's probably June 13th when you grab that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So as of June 13th. So, okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead, Jenkins, if you don't mind. I'm going to knock one of these out. Let's go ahead and grab Lilo and Stitch off there
Lilo and Stitch at number 8.
at number 8. Okay.
Definitely Ballerina for sure.
Ballerina at number 3.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How to Train Your Dragon.
How to Train Your Dragon, fantastic pull at number 5.
Ooh, what's the number 1?
It's very interesting.
That's very interesting. The Materialist.
Materialist is not in the top 10.
Oh,
Katie's probably
what
glad
X.
about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Katie wants it to have all bad reviews, actually. I mean, okay. I don't want to go back-to-back misses, but I'm going to throw out Karate Kid. Is it still there?
Karate Kid not in the
I saw
popular
it last
this
week, but I think that movie came out like a month ago, but I saw it
The
last
cool
week.
thing about Letterboxd is that it also does get a little of the, it's not super like headline movies or anything
Yeah.
like that. That's
Grabs a lot
popping
of
this
everything.
week
So we've got
you
3.
know.
We've got How to Train Your Dragon, Ballerina, and Lilo and Stitch.
of top 10. We got some work to do.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Huh. What even came out?
I'm trying to. They're
Like
the movie theater in our small town shows 2 movies at a time.
So 2 of these,
And I
one of
can't
these
remember.
is massive franchise, recent release.
Mission Impossible 8.
Mission Impossible
okay.
is at number 6.
Still haven't got number 1.
We still don't have number 1.
Yeah.
That's
So
insane.
now I got number 1, okay? And it's going to be a tough pull, okay? It's had a lot of
We're still not talking. Is Sinner's still going to be top 10?
Sinners,
It's still on there.
number 2.
Number
Okay.
2. I would not have
Whoa.
guessed.
On popular this week. It is being watched constantly.
Good for them. Good for Sinners. And number 1. So this would have been Friday the 13th.
That's a little,
Yeah.
Friday the 13th you associate with what kind of movies?
A horror movie.
We have had a horror genre release very recently.
I'm not a horror fan, by the way.
Oh,
Anybody
gosh.
who
Right.
There was a horror
I'm not a
movie,
fan of
but
horror
I don't
movie.
remember what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider Sinners.
Because 28 years later is not out yet.
Right. It's also a franchise.
A horror
Yeah.
franchise?
You caught 2
Yeah.
guys that don't know anything about these franchises, these horror
I
movies.
feel like we've been targeted.
Final Destination.
Oh, okay. That was number
duh.
1.
Duh,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. That came out.
Number 9.
That was number 9? I thought that was number 1.
Yeah, it's hard to
one.
put it in a horror category.
Yeah,
It's a
I don't really
thriller.
think
It
of
is.
horror when I think of Final Destination, but yeah.
Sure, yeah.
If there's not like a guy in a mask or
Right.
a possessed doll.
So what are
Okay.
we at? Where's the standings right now?
Go ahead, Randy. Hit with what you got so far.
Yeah, we've got Sinners at 2. I think you said Ballerina was 3.
Yep.
How to Train Your Dragon, we have that at 5. Mission Impossible 8 was at 6. We have Lilo and Stitch at 8. And we have Final Destination at 9. So we're missing 1, 4, 7, and 10.
We're missing one,
Okay.
which is crazy.
We're missing number 1. What's the most popular movie on the planet right now? Pretty much. Letterboxd is pretty
So
accurate.
it's a very popular director, Wes Anderson, dropped.
Oh gosh, what was
I
his?
don't remember. The Amician, something like
Oh, the
that.
Phoenician
The
game.
Phoenician
Scheme.
game.
Yeah.
Scheme.
There
That's
we
what
go.
it
The
is.
Phoenician
Shout out Wes
Scheme
Anderson.
at number 1.
I saw a
right now.
tremendous tweet. Somebody
So-
said Wes Anderson discovering, or Wes Anderson and Michael Sarah, him discovering Michael Sarah was like caveman's discovering fire.
But he's
It's
such
a
a
match made in heaven.
he's such a niche director with
He
what
is.
He is.
you know.
I need to
and
see that
I-
because I saw. I loved Asteroid City, which was
Mhm.
I think his last movie. But yeah, it was really good. So
I just love how you can look at the poster for the movie and you immediately know it's Wes Anderson.
exactly right.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
so incredible with colors, and
So we still need 4, 7, and 10.
I will say, I'd be beyond impressed. Okay, 10, I'll give you the hints on because that'd be the easiest one to steer you into a direction. It's a sequel, okay, to kind of a cult classic action movie. And I say cult classic, that's not true, but it is very famous. Okay, by an actor that has played Batman.
Oh, is it?
oh, I know
No,
it.
I'm tripping.
It's The
Yeah,
Accountant
but
too.
The Accountant too.
The
Very
Accountant
good.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ben
yeah.
Affleck.
that was 10. There we go.
Okay.
So
7 and 4.
number 4, I didn't even know this movie was out. Okay, so that's why shouts out Letterboxd, always putting people on. Okay, it is another series. Okay, it is a Predator movie, Killer of Killers.
Okay.
Okay.
Predator, Killer of
Oh,
Killers.
it's
Okay, it was four.
animated. It's animated.
And then, well, how about that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I need to check that out.
Yeah, because they have
And
there's
then
another
s-
Predator movie coming out soon called Badlands. Also.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
yes, and I knew about that one.
Yeah.
So I guess, and that that could be building up the hype for it, leading up to it. And then at number 7, Bring Her Back,
Bring
horror
her
movie.
back. Okay.
So that is what is trending
On
this week
Letterboxd.
right now in Letterboxd. Okay, so yeah, Bring Her Back, Evil Comes Full Circle is the punchline on 3.7 on
Find some
Letterboxd.
freaks on Letterboxd, dog. I love Letterboxd. That's true. It's social media for Cinemaniacs.
Can you guess the highest Letterboxd score of those 10?
Of the 10?
Yeah.
Probably the Phoenician game.
Let me check the Phoenician scheme.
Oh, I wrote game. I don't know why I wrote game.
3.6.
Out of what, 5?
I think it's easily going to be Final Destination.
Interesting. All right. Final Destination. 3.3 on Letterboxd.
Oh wow! Because did y'all see the Rotten Tomato score for that movie?
Was it
No, it wasn't.
not
It's
100?
like in the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Rotten Tomatoes is interesting on how they give their scores.
Was that
Yeah.
the critics or the audience?
Critics.
Okay, see, this
You're
is
skipping-
this is all
You're
audience.
skipping a very popular
Sinners?
list. Sinners has
Yeah.
to be.
Oh, duh.
100%.
Yeah. Duh.
And your defense, Jenkins, I have the whole list sitting
Yeah.
in front of me.
Randy did write down the list as I was answering. 4.2 on Letterboxd.
Okay, yeah.
5-star is the most averaged, or the highest picked rating of
Yeah.
that whole thing. So, yeah.
Fair.
Very good. So that's what's trending on Letterboxd this week. If you haven't seen them, check it out. So,
We're not sponsored by Letterboxd,
Put
either,
you
by
on
the way.
someone. put
Not yet.
There you go. Shout out Letterboxd. We'll team up.
All right. So I'm gonna move on. I'll hit mine for y'all.
Okay.
And I want to give y'all redemption. So I have a list of these games that we
Okay.
play that I want to get to at some point. But
Alright.
I want y'all to have one more chance at the movie game that we did last week. I'm gonna give you the cast, and you will guess the movie based off the cast. You'll go one actor at a time. You'll
Let's
get a
do
guess
this.
after each actor.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
It's gonna be a lot of fun here. I have tried my hardest again. I want to go 2-0. I take it as a loss if I don't get it.
All
So,
right.
First actor, Tom Cruise. Only about 1 million movies you could guess. We're narrowing it down.
Tropic Thunder.
No way.
Wow.
Game's over.
What a pool. Didn't even let me go.
Come on. Come on.
That's insane.
Come on. We're not going 0-2 on this podcast.
That's insane.
all right. We're not going 0-2 on this podcast.
From Tom Cruise is crazy. I typed up the whole cast. I didn't type up the whole
the
cast.
only
but
thing that I could think of you giving Tom Cruise first Would have to be him.
It'd
And
have to-
Tropic
yeah.
Thunder.
You know what? That's I should have went like Jay Baruchel or something like that.
Wow.
So yeah, it's very impressive. Very good
Thanks,
job there.
thanks.
We'll have to clip that.
Had to fight back. We had to fight back.
That's good. That's good. So yeah, that's
All right.
that's my game done.
Cool.
that was quick, and I expected that to be a lot longer than it was.
Lightning round. Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was about as deep as I have for that. I'm gonna have to get real creative.
That is a crazy cast.
I'm
That
gonna have
cast
to
is
go.
so deep.
Oh yeah, that was as deep. Ben
Go,
Stiller, Jack Black.
Get through that list.
I'll go for my whole list: Tom Cruise, Matthew McConaughey, Nick Nolte, Bill Hader, Brandon T. Jackson, Danny McBride, Jay Baruchel, Steve Coogan, Robert Downey Jr., Jack Black, Ben Stiller.
Nick Nolte to like at
Bill
first. Bill Hader, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he could have gotten there eventually. I probably would have skipped around. I wouldn't have read it in that exact order, but
Yeah, flex.
Yeah. So that's gonna be sick. So yeah, that's it for us today. Appreciate it. Got a lot of exciting stuff going on. Got some blockbusters on the way. We are counting down the days to Fantastic Four, Superman. Got a lot going on. Appreciate it.
See y'all.
See ya.